everyone. I'm Mac.
And I'm Kirsten.
And we are the Womacs.
And this is part 3 of our Get to Know Us Better series.
Yes. So we ended last week with we moved to Lakewood, Ohio.
Yeah, and I had started feeling better. And I actually took a health course online from Cornell University.
Oh, right.
Remember?
Yeah, right.
It was free. It was through Coursera, which is still around and more popular now. But I got a certification in nutrition.
Yes.
And I started following what I learned there, and we were eating a lot better, and I was feeling a lot better.
Yes.
And I'd cut way back on eating meat. I was trying everything with black beans.
Yeah, so this was about 2013.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was working, now I left a little bit out. So for I'm going to backtrack. I still worked as a virtual assistant when we were in downtown Cleveland, and I had a team, and they reported into me. When we moved to Lakewood, I ended up no longer having the team, and I got a job online. My degree is in HR. I got a job online posting jobs for a company that hired people, but I still had my VA practice, but I had cut down to just 2 clients because I was just getting too burnt with that. And I wanted to spend more time with my mom, and make money at the same time. So by having a consistent HR online job, that allowed me to do that. I did that in Lakewood. And then also Lakewood, what were you, while we were in Lakewood, you were still doing a lot of working.
Yeah, I was training and I was still working at the VA. So I don't know if I talked about the VA hospital. I was working in the Cleveland VA as a supply specialist, logistics guy. That's what I did in the military also. Matter of fact, I did that since I got a job. So I've been in logistics since 1990.
Wow.
So I've been doing logistics. Very good at them, good with numbers and, that type of thing. But I was doing that, and I was training a lot of people still in Cleveland. So
So we had a routine. Every Saturday morning, we'd get up super early. We'd go to the West Side Market. We'd buy all the vegetables that we needed. We'd go buy our Americano at that little coffee shop across the street. We'd go all the way to South Euclid.
Work out, train people. Yeah, in the class. Yeah, boot
then
camp.
When we'd come back to the West Side with all our groceries still in the car, we'd go train at Buck Naked Studio, which was a yoga
studio. So we did a class there, and then we would go home and eat
and I would go to sleep, and you would watch college football.
Yep.
Yeah.
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Granny.
And so while we were there, my mom was starting to get weak. I know it's a little weaker. We went to Put-in-Bay for our anniversary, and she always kept our dog. And I noticed
this was in 2013.
Yeah, I noticed when we left, she was kind of, I don't know, different. But when we came back and picked our dog up, and then when we were headed back to Cleveland, she always used to follow you out to your car. But she stopped on the porch, and she was waving, and she just looked really, pale to me. She just didn't look good. But then we took her to breakfast, and she was telling us all these stories about when she was young and everything. And I was telling her she should go down to Columbus and spend some time with my sister because she always liked it. And she's like, yeah, she wants to come, but I'm just too tired. And I said, I think you should go. You'll have a good time. She went, and unfortunately, while there, she suffered a stroke. So that probably was coming on that whole time.
Yeah, and she was getting weaker.
And she was just getting weaker and weaker. So she was in the hospital for a week. Since I worked from home, I packed my stuff up, and I stayed at the hospital with her for 7 days, and unfortunately, she passed away.
Right.
Yeah. That was not a good time.
Yeah, it was a terrible time actually. When that happened, prior to that happening, I was already looking to transfer to Arizona. We went out to Arizona our first anniversary 18 years ago. We went out there and we went out to Arizona, and we really loved it. And we said, I said, as soon as we get the opportunity, we're moving out there. And she was all for it. But when Granny passed, her mom, she called me and said, well, are you ready to go? And I
Yeah.
said, absolutely.
Yeah, I called him. I think he might have been at work. And I'm like, I was just sitting there thinking about it. We had buried my mom and everything. And I'm like, so the main purpose for coming to Ohio was to be closer to her. So now she's no longer here. Is this really where we want to be? Now, we have suffered some of the worst snowstorms
In Cleveland. Oh
in
my
Cleveland
God.
during the times we were there. So I was ready to go to Arizona. So I started shopping more at Aldi. Back then, Aldi was nowhere near like it is now. It was cheap, but it just didn't have the offerings. And we ate more black beans. We ate more black beans in a little bit. But that's how we saved our money up to get there.
Right. So she called me at the job and said, well, are you ready to go? I said, well, I'm going to make a phone call. I made a phone call to a friend in HR. She made a phone call out to Arizona, and they had a position open, and I made the transfer. 2014, April 1st, 2014, we pulled out. Well, 2014, April 1st, we pulled out of Cleveland, well, Lakewood, Ohio.
No, actually, Columbus. Remember we went down?
April 1st, 2014, we pulled out of Lakewood, Ohio. It was snowing, and we was on our way to Columbus.
Oh, okay. And then when we left Columbus to go to Arizona,
Snowing also.
it was still snowing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we packed up everything. We sold as much as we could. We packed up everything in U-Haul, and we drove to Arizona and we failed to think about something. Where would our dog sit in the front of the little UPS truck? We had a standard.
Well, it was a U-Haul truck.
Yeah, UPS. A U-Haul truck. That poor dog. But he did good. He rolled
good.
up, and he slept all those hours. And it was a nice, it was a challenging ride with, like, having all your stuff ample in the car. So that was kind of like the beginning of your RV driving, in a way.
Well, I didn't know I was going to be doing this RV stuff, but that's later in the story. So we got on the road. We had the bed in the middle of both of us in the U-Haul.
Yeah, 'cause it's hot.
We had the U-Haul full of stuff. We had a car on the trailer full of stuff, and we were taking 8-hour trips between states. So we stopped 4 times, but reason being, I had to be at work April 6th in Arizona. So we left April 2nd from Ohio, drove 8 hours, then drove another. So so April 5th we got there. April 6th I had to be at work.
Yes.
Which was crazy. Crazy driving.
And when we got there was a condo that we had never seen.
Yes.
We have a friend in Arizona, Matthew Maserati. Shout out to you, Matthew. His friend was a realtor, and she found us a condo. She sent us pictures, and we just said, okay. We didn't know nothing about where it was. It ended up being in North Scottsdale, which is
gorgeous.
Very nice for the price.
It was beautiful.
It was, and most people that lived in that condo community lived in Canada. They were snowbirds, so we were there most of the time by ourselves after winter was over.
After May, people would leave, and we had the whole pool, the gym, everything basically to ourselves. There was a lot of people who stayed the whole year. Not a lot, but a lot of people left. So we had the place to ourselves. Again, we're coming from Lakewood, Ohio. We get to North Scottsdale, Arizona, which was gorgeous, man.
Yeah, spread out.
Beautiful place.
Different environment, just different. Dry heat.
Yeah.
At first, my first like 3 weeks, I think I ended up having some type of attack from the cactuses were blooming. Whew, that did me in. I remember I had to go to Walgreens and get Flonase and all this stuff. But so that's how we got to Arizona.
Yeah. We just went on a whim and went and check it out. So the whole time we were there from 2014 to 2019, and between 2014 and 2018. We moved 4 times. So we moved every year while we were there.
That sounds crazy. But see, the first place, I think we would have stayed there had not. There was a mix-up. The realtor told us that the person that bought our condo wanted us to move. So as soon as she said that, we started looking because it had sold right away. We signed a lease, and then the owner calls us and tells us how happy he bought it and that we were in it. And we're like, well, wait, we got another apartment. And he was like, I didn't want you guys to leave. So anyway, we moved to a beautiful
resort style
apartment that I have been watching online, saying, one day I want to live there. One day I want to live there.
Mark Taylor condos, apartments, resort style. I mean,
it had everything.
2 beautiful
pools, right?
Pools. The
Huge
gym. The gym was just beautiful. I got to do classes at the gym.
There's a business office.
Business office, coffee. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing. Until everybody heard about it, and all the college kids who were going to ASU, because we live right by Arizona State University, they started moving in, and it turned into like a frat house. So
oh my goodness, Saturdays.
We had to get out of there, man. There'd be a lot of drunken fights and a lot too much partying. So we left there, moved to the Biltmore in Arizona, which was very nice also. Mm-hmm. We lived there for 8 months because we found her dream home in Goodyear, Arizona.
Another one I had been watching. I had been watching this community on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so beautiful. They have lakes, they have gyms, they have restaurants. Oh, one day I would love to own a house there.
So we went there to see if there was any houses for sale, and we walked into a model home, and it just blew us away.
We loved that house. I couldn't stop thinking about that house after we left. I kept thinking, that was like in, I don't know what month it was. And then we just drove out there on a whim, and it was pretty far from where we were at.
Yeah, it was about 45 minutes to an hour away from where we were at. So we went there, looked at the model home, looked at a couple other homes, and went home to our apartment back in Biltmore, and we talked about it, and we forgot about it maybe about 3-4 months later, 5 months.
Yeah, we took a ride back out there. We're like, let's go, let's just go on back out there and see what's going on. Because it was a lot of development going on at that time.
Yeah, because the community was being like built actually. Mm-hmm. So we went back out there and walked back into the model home, and Kirsten said, man, I would love to get this home. And the realtor who was selling these properties was in there with us and said, well, this one just came on the market today. And I said, no, it's not. Take it off the market, get a contract right now. She looked at me and kind of smirked and laughed, but I bought that house.
And everything in it.
And everything in it. So it was the model home, it was already staged. I said, well, since we're buying the model home, can we get everything and leave it right where it is? And she said, I'll check. And she checked. And I wrote her a check for all the furniture, washer and dryer, just everything.
Just everything. They left everything.
So we got that home in 2018, and we'll leave it right there.
Yeah. Yes.
And we'll leave it right there.
So if you're new and you've been watching this video, we have a playlist for this Get to Know You series. This is part 3 of the series. I'll link the other 2 videos below. And just thanks for tuning in, and follow on next week to see what we did next.
And always move with Mac.
Positive thinking
equals positive results.
Peace.